imagine paying more than $11 for 1 ear of corn, $23 for a loaf of bread, $45 for orange juice, and $15.50 for a chocolate bar? Well, our next guest says we will be seeing prices like this in the very near future. And brace yourself, because of food inflation, this holiday season will be the worst in American history. Gerard Adams is president of the National Inflation Association. Gerard, welcome to you. So we all know the macro picture with the Fed and quantitative easing, flooding dollars into the system, more dollars equal higher inflation. But you are saying food inflation will take over next year as our biggest crisis, more so than the mortgage mess, unemployment. Why is that, and why aren't more people as concerned as you are?
I think people do need to get educated. I think that food inflation should be their #1 concern right now. Commodities, agricultural commodities have really taken off more than anything else right in the past couple months. And I think that come next year, it's going to get much worse.
But so far, corporations have not passed on those higher food prices, in a large part, to the consumer. But is there going to be a floodgate? What's the catalyst going to be that automatically comes upon our shoulders as consumers and food buyers?
Well, I think it's starting to happen right now. Dean Foods actually just came out recently announcing that their net income has dropped by 51% because of the rising cost of their butterfat, which they use for ice cream and milk. And sooner or later, these companies are going to have to take on these costs.
But you're talking about searing inflation here, $11.43 for 1 ear of corn. That's a huge differentiation for what we're paying right now. So there's got to be something major that a lot of economists are missing. We talk about core inflation, right? The Federal Reserve says core inflation is pretty limited, but when you put in the volatile food and energy component, then it gets scary. But, I mean, you're talking about prices going up for the holiday season. That could cause a run on the grocery store, so let's be really careful here. So what's the difference? What's the disconnect?
I think it's really going to get bad for the holiday season, but I think it's going to get even worse coming into next year. The fact of the matter is that the last time we had an inflationary crisis was in the 1970s, and we just calculated the fact that taking the prices that it went to in the 1970s and compared it to what the real rate of inflation is around today's dollars, and that's where we got a lot of our projections.
And $23 for a 24-ounce loaf of wheat bread. It's astronomical. $77 for an 11-ounce container of Folgers coffee. Give me a snapshot. Give me a better understanding of how you do your research.
Well, basically, I think actually those prices can happen within the next decade, but they can even happen even sooner, in my opinion. If what we did was, like I told you, we just took the prices the last time we had an inflationary crisis, which was in the 1970s. I feel that the economic status right now is much worse than it was in the 70s. So I took the prices of those commodities when they hit their highs in the 70s, and I just calculated what those prices would be in today's dollars based on the real rate of inflation.
And then how does that compare to, because wage growth is certainly not going to keep up with this rate of food inflation you're talking about. What's the ratio there? What's the difference there?
I think that for every 1% in wage growth, there'll be 4% food inflation. So I think people really need to start waking up.
Is there anything that could thwart this trend that you're seeing? We're looking at gold prices down 30-some-odd bucks the ounce today. China expected to raise interest rates. Any macro themes that could, again, cause you to limit your forecast here?
Well, I think it's a buying opportunity right now, gold and silver, first of all. And I think that the Federal Reserve needs to stop printing money. You know, we need to seriously consider raising interest rates immediately, because I think that we're on the verge of seeing hyperinflation.
All right, Gerard Adams, president of the National Inflation Association, your specialty. Many thanks.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of people hope you're incorrect, but an interesting theory nonetheless. Appreciate you sharing it with us.